So this is interesting. And I'm until I get every single thought process out and it's recorded out there in the universe, I'm going to do these Facebook Lives. I mean, I'm in the process of developing my book in my head, but I need to verbalize it so everybody can see where this information came from, how it was developed, and there is no question of plagiarism or I'm stealing somebody's idea or whatever. Not that that was really the reason. This is more for my own benefit of hearing things and seeing things and typing things and writing things and saying things and all that. So, but this is also a great research tool because I do get information from you guys in different ways. And so this is all about, what do you call it? Peer review. Peer review is huge out there in academia, but they peer review with a very limited parameter. And if you go outside their limitations or their parameters, then you are excommunicated from the associations and the foundations that people belong to. So that's why also I think that academia.edu or whatever, where they have that open source sharing information, is a good place to be, and where a lay person, even professionals, can add their 2 cents to anything and start developing new strategies. But I use Facebook because it's easy, it's straight to the point. I'm learning all the different parameters I have to work within, and sometimes when you're learning new concepts, you're going to take a side to such an extreme. And so Facebook is a great way to let you know when you're going to extremes, because it says, they're picking up algorithms that come from extremist behavior, and they let you know, maybe what you said or what you were inferencing is not actually what so, and you don't want to mislead or put out, false news or something. So anyways, the whole input output, and I'm going to use my dog as an example because my dog is going through her different stages of development from getting down to her prototype. And so you have a world within you, okay? You have a whole world within you that you can't see. You can only feel it and you hear about it. I mean, you read about it, you learn about it in school, you heard what I say about what's in your body. You have viruses that are programmed, parasites, proteins, viruses, parasites, protozoa, proteins, fungus, and bacteria. And they all have specific jobs. And they're all programmed and have their own world that they want to, develop and populate and whatever. And they also have to be regulated. And so you have that within your body. So that's a world in your body. And then you have a world outside. And the world out there, out externally, and the world inside here has information. Constant input, output. Now, from your perspective, you're taking in information, and then when you are coughing, you're releasing information. Okay? And so inside your body, they're taking in information and releasing information. So even the viruses and the parasites and the protozoa, the proteins, fungus, and bacteria in your body are doing the same thing. It's a constant input, output, input, output. And so then when you are finally recalibrating and you've reset your immune system and you're watching the things release, actually, you're watching it, because it could come up and you can see it on your skin, but you're also feeling the release of the information that's in your body that has caused all of your different diagnosable conditions, or that were predispositions that hadn't come up yet, but they were laying dormant and they were going to wake up at some point. Well, you're watching the information come out of the body, and it's like traveling through time. It's like B cells and T cells and memories of whatever that microbe was orchestrating within its sphere of influence. So with my dog having a lot of the yeast come out of her ears because of viral influences, as well as what she could be releasing, because of viral influences, and her body is now finally in tune with the environment and her immune system has been activated, it definitely, you see the memories of whatever the intention of those specific microbes were programmed to do, you will see them for a brief moment in time. How long? It's hard to say. Sometimes you think that the way a person is, or the way a dog is, or the way an animal is going to be that way, and they're going to be dealing with this thing forever. Like, you know, with my animal kind of being weird and finicky about her food when she wasn't before. That's new to me. That was crazy. That's new. But she ate today without me having to even feed her, actually, to think about it. And so she won't starve herself. My dog will not starve herself. Animals don't have that capacity to starve themselves unless they are completely incapacitated and they can't drink water either. That's when the dog is like, or animal is dying, is when they starve themselves because of incapacitation. But no, she's extremely finicky, and she knows how to figure out how to finagle her treats. And I fed her a lot of treats the last couple of weeks, which I'm now not doing as much. But I'm even going to be getting off of putting it in her food, because I'm trying different ways to figure out, you know, and she's getting smarter. You know, she's trying to finagle those treats in some way. And so it's, but they won't starve themselves. But you will see a behavioral change, not only yourself, when you're allowing the old information of the old world release and you're taking in new information, you're going to see changes. I see it in my dog. She has behavioral changes and even systemic changes. Not that it's bad, but even I have to change up the way I do my routines. And so, you know, so now it's like, now I'm walking her twice a day. It's not going to be a half an hour, but I'll walk her in the morning, walk her in the afternoon, because now we got to get into routine. And now that I'm finally feeling really up to par, and I have my thought process developed, or I have most of, actually 99.99% of my research done, and I don't feel sick or dealing with any crazy variant. Even if I do, I'll just deal with it. Now I can implement new routines, of which then before, when I was raising an animal, it was just like, hey, put the food in the dish. She would eat it. She's a self-feeder. I didn't have to do too much checking of all this stuff. But, you know, being a new dog owner, because I never really had a dog of my own, it is a learning process. But if I were to go to the veterinarians all the time, then they would cure the animal. And I'm not saying that they would destroy it, but when you are implementing cures on your animals, for many reasons, for whatever reasons, they eventually will succumb to the medication. Now, with the stuff coming out, when things are coming out, when you guys are dealing with your yeast issues and all the different things that will cause you discomfort, you will find mild ways to alleviate the energy, because it can be rather uncomfortable. And if the energy is that excessive, then of course see a doctor. You know, if my dog was really in pain, and she's never really been in pain except for when she'd have seizures out of nowhere, and you can't predict them. Now they'd be like, well, why don't you go get her an anti-convulsive or an anti-this? Well, I wrote yesterday why I would not put her on those types of medications, because there is so many side effects, as well as excessive B cell and T cell, and she would still have to deal with it anyways at some point. And so anyways, and so you'll figure out, well, yeah. And so at some point you will figure out how much you can deal with as far as the pain of the stuff coming out, and then you also taking in new information. And so it's like you watch me kind of be frantic about, like, oh God, the food, I gotta change this food, I do this. And I'm putting my what I'm doing, almost everything I'm doing with her and with myself on some level, so you can see what it's like to feel like that it might be, you might think this is like the behavior forever. You might think this is gonna be something that, oh my God, this is like for everything, all the changes that go on as far as how your animal behaves and how you ultimately feel when you're going through these processes of input output, because your immune system hasn't activated and you're feeding it, it's only temporary. If there isn't a real major issue, okay, and how would you even characterize a major issue? You know, that's the thing. Everything is relative to perception. What I'm dealing with and what I have been willing to deal with, someone would categorize as a major issue. And that's why the people freak out when I'm like, oh, I didn't take my dog to the vet, or this or that, or I didn't go to the doctor. But that's the thing, is you have to figure out, like, if your animal is suffering, and my animal isn't suffering. She's just going through a translational, oh no. She's going through her different memories of the B cells and T cells that have been programmed into her when she was bred into existence. And so that old world is being released, and it's not comfortable, because yeah, you have to pay attention to the ear washes, different seasons, different times, you know, of the year, things will act up, and you have to pay attention. You have to know. And so that's why, you know, I have the apple cider vinegar and water wash to do like a little, you know, just a little bit, you know, around her ears with a little cotton ball. And so just to kind of, so if things were getting stuck, you know, on its way out, and I did dig out a lot of that waxy yeast stuff in her ears, but they weren't infected. It wasn't like, you know, they were red, but she was, you know, I mean, I know that stuff coming out can be uncomfortable for her, but I know there's ways in which you can get that as it's coming out. You can help get it out and also keep it under control on some level. But yeah, I mean, the caring for animals is such a trippy thing, because you can teeter on curing them so much and being overly preventative and using so many different remedies and so many different toxic acid type of stuff where they're not able to adapt. And so there's that careful balance of not developing antibiotic resistance, but allowing the animal to deal with certain things up to a certain level. And then when there is something very aggressive, help alleviate the energy. And that is one of the strategies of tolerance with not only yourself. I mean, if you got to figure out how much pain can you handle. With an animal, it's a little bit different. They can't really tell you. You hear the energy that comes out. Maybe they whine, maybe they don't. But even then, you know, there's so many things that are going on, and so it's paying attention to then the body language and all that. And I'll tell you, those that are in the medical holistic system, those that are always taking their animals to the vet or always going to the doctors, they wouldn't understand this. As soon as something is out of character or something that they're like, oh my God, this is bad, or they've read stuff that if you let it go for so long, it's going to cause this and that, blah, blah. And so people are a little bit overly exuberant in taking their animals or themselves to the doctor or the vet. And so everyone's different. And it's all relative to expectation of where you ultimately want to end up. If you know the order of operations of a hospital system or a veterinary system, and you participate in their therapies, and the more therapies you participate in, the more you're going to realize the last order of operation, which is hospice or death. And so that's what you also must remind yourself when it comes to the cures market. Because even the holistic energy healing world are full of people who are aging and detoxing themselves out of existence. And so this is something that, like, it's abstract. It is abstract, and it is relative to the strength of the person's resolve to understand how to balance out the cures out there and how much pain you can handle and how much pain your animal can handle and how much pain your kid can handle. And no one should be legislating what people should be doing as far as pain. That's why we can't recommend cures. The only thing I could say is eat food. And my dog ate her food tonight without me prompting her. It wasn't a whole lot, but they won't starve themselves. She's just finicky now. Before she wasn't, but now she's a little bit finicky because she's going through a different evolutionary stage that, since it is different than what I'm used to, and it's been quite interesting watching it. I just have to trust that as long as I keep up on making sure she has her food and her water, and I'm giving her walks, because now we both are getting into a routine together. Before, it was the last 5 or 6 years has been a little chaotic with so many things going on. And so, now that I'm a bit more present in her evolutionary stages and adaptation stage, and I'm very present with mine, and watching my husband, things, you just have to keep pressing on. It's just, and you have to set your life up around it. If you have a very busy life and your animal, I'm not saying they're not your first priority, but let's say you have kids or a husband, or you have a busy life, yeah, you're going to take your animal to the vet. You're going to take your animal to the holistic professional, because you want them to diagnose it quickly and just remedy it, and then, okay, the animal is whatever the animal is. Can I say that's wrong or right? I've had judgments on that. But this is our society, is that we take on children, we take on pets, we take on friends and family. We have spread ourselves so thin that we cannot possibly give the most effective attention to the ones that we absolutely love who are next to us, because we have spread ourselves so thin. But you look at my lifestyle. I have a husband who's hardly ever here. I have a brain that I'm working on through my computer. My dog is around me 24/7. I can afford to do this, and I can afford to watch it and do my research and observe and take notes and make my conclusions, my hypothesis. If you don't have the time that I have or the setup that I have, there's no way you can do this. It would drive you crazy, and especially if you're dealing with your own stuff. Because it's hard for anyone to not only take care of themselves, but take care of an animal going through that kind of evolutionary stage. And imagine trying to take care of kids at the same time, and take care of your job, and take care of your husband. Our system was set up for people to be so busy that you would have to rely on some professional to do a quick diagnosis and do a quick cure or a remedy or a quick surgery or whatever. And now the world's changing, and you don't have to make as much money as you think. You don't have to have kids. You don't even have to have a husband or a wife. And you don't even have to have a dog. You could just have yourself, or you have a dog, and then you make sure that dog will stay alive forever. But yeah, so it's truly understanding the balance of the input of the information and the output of the information, and watching the changes along the way, because there's going to be a lot of genetic predispositions and things coming to surface that you don't know what's going to come in, or you don't know if it's what's coming in or what's going out. And so, once you deal with everything that's aggressive, which is probably why I'm dealing with her yeast stuff in her ears, because she's had yeast in her ears before. I've seen it before. And so until all the aggressive things are dealt with and have come to surface, that most likely you'll have to be tolerant of that and deal with that, and know that whatever you're dealing with is not going to be forever. And then once the body really understands and gets rid of all the old information in the body, and has a very strong defense system, and the dog is eating and they're getting their whatevers, their balance of everything, then their immune system will then regulate the yeast. The immune system will regulate the viruses, the parasites, the protozoa, the proteins and fungus and bacteria. But the last couple of years, I could not use as a barometer of what to expect, because of the amount of viral activities going on. Her body trying to level up, and so many predispositions that have to be dealt with. And so there's no way to really predict until you deal with the worst case. And the worst case scenario that she had to deal with was the seizures. This ear stuff that's coming out of her ears and all that, maybe it's messing with her equilibrium, and she lost a little bit of strength because she's had to be down for a bit because of all this stuff going on. It's temporary. It's not as bad, and it's temporary, but the seizures were the worst thing. Okay, her fur is doing great. Her skin's great. Her temperament is fine. She's not aggressive. We have rabbits in our backyard. She sees them. She doesn't go after them. She's a little unstable on her feet because she has to deal with having that neurological thing with the seizures. I'm sure it also then triggered a lot more of the yeast stuff, which is fine. Everything has to trigger and it has to be expressed. But also, if they're in pain, they'll tell you, and even then you won't really know what. So you just kind of have to look at their orifices and watch their bowel movements. You know, it's a lot to take care of not only yourself, but an animal, a child. And then when you think about how much work it is to keep yourself alive, to keep your kid alive, to keep an animal alive, then do you really want to have kids? Do you really want to have an animal? I mean, having a husband or a wife is great because they're autonomous and it's fine for a certain amount of time. But if they're not doing something like the J juice, then you're just like, okay, you know what's going to happen. You have to prepare yourself for certain things in the future. But keeping an animal or keeping a child alive or keeping a child health, whatever that means, keeping an animal alive, oh, it's very difficult. And you have to have a thick skin. And you got to be up. She hasn't peed in the house today or in the last couple of days, you know. Because what I do is I let her sleep until 10 or 9 because they need 14 hours of sleep. Bless you, sugar. You need 14 hours, 12 to 14 hours of sleep. And then I take her out for the walk. She pees outside. I walk her around the neighborhood just to get her stuff up, everything going. She comes in the house. Maybe she'll eat. I'll give her, you know, I'm not going to hand feed her now anymore. I'm going to just put food out there twice a day, 10 and 5. And I'll put one bone out per day for her. I used to give her the bacon strips treat, but no, she self-fed today, so I don't have to go and entice her with bacon strips. But they're not poison. It's just that obviously they don't have enough nutrition for them to be sustained on them. And so it's developing a routine every day. And that's good for me. It's good for her. I get out because before I just was like, you know, I was very, very closed because of so much of this virus going around and I'm feeling it and I don't want to deal with anyone or anything. Don't want to leave the house. Don't want to, but I'm getting stronger. And I think that is the future for me and anyone else that's willing to stick it out, is that you will eventually be able to go out there even without a mask. Okay. But that's going to be a long time for a lot of you. And the worst thing that you'll feel is the heat in your face. And maybe the worst thing is you blow your nose and sneeze, or maybe cough. Like I coughed this morning and I released a bunch of poop this morning, but I coughed a lot as if I was sick. But no, that was just a let me know, an indicator that let me know that there was a bunch of stuff in my system that needed to be released, because I have a clear communication between all my orifices as far as my alimentary canal. And so at some point you'll be strong enough to deal with this environment without having to be on a cure or a therapy or use the hospital or medical system or any of the holistic. I see that as a completely a possibility, that I could walk around in this world, and not that I won't feel stuff, but it won't make me shy away because of how much. Now, I will test it if I go to a party this summer, and see how my body will react to being around so many microbes that will be trying to get in, and how much mucus I will be developing because of that. Okay, but my dog is in the process of developing her first lines of defense. And she has to get rid of the old world. Yeah, she's a little skinny, but that's going to be part of it. But she's still drinking a lot of water. She runs. She gets her burst of energy. There's a few little neurotic things that she does as far as walking around the house, but okay. But that's just part of it all. And I can't assume this is going to be forever. I just have to keep feeding her and just keep the routine going. Okay, I'm not going to let her die. I'm not going to let any animal die under my care. As long as they get food, water, and they're still active and they can poop and pee and drink water, then it's just dealing with the behavioral temperament, the changes that happen as those B cells and T cells come into the body and as they leave the body. And they do affect people and animals. And so remember, it's input and output for you, but you also have the microbes that are also doing the input and the output. And you don't know what they're inputting and you don't know what they're outputting. And so that's why you have to then recalibrate your system to get rid of those conductors that are orchestrating their own world that may be misaligned with your intentions. Because that's what infection is somebody who's commandeered some aspect of your 11 different systems and figured out a way to overwhelm the system and develop so much growth. And that's what needs to be released and not cured. That's left for the Food and Drug Administration. I'm going to go. Bye.